Podcast, WATP.
Opie needs attention so badly these days.
Yeah.
And so he's constantly lashing out, and most recently lashing out at Jim Norton. And I think I hate to say this because it seems like a cop-out, it seems like what everyone says. I think there's jealousy going on. Now that Jim is off Sirius and he's doing his own thing on YouTube, now him and Opie are on the same level. Hey, we both have YouTube channels. What are you doing? I'm walking around New York and talking about how expensive cookies are. What are you doing? I have comedians on my show, and people call in, and we riff and get 100,000 views per episode. Oh.
Well, I rescued a whatchamacallit.
I rescued a whatchamacallit from a 9/11 memorial. That is pretty impressive. We've got a lot of people talking about that.
We're tied.
So I think because of this, Opie feels the need to lash out. And also because people are talking about Jim with him leaving Sirius and starting up this new show. So he knows the algorithms. He wants to make sure that people are seeing that name on his channel. So this is his latest video that he's putting out there. And, again, thank you, Opie. I spend most of my day on Wednesdays and Saturdays watching videos and pulling clips. And I go through and I figure out where to start it and where to end it. And I name it and I put it in an order. Well, I'm giving away too many of my secrets. Hold on.
Order, you say.
And what Opie does is he goes, oh, no, this is actually all the shit you want to make fun of me for right here. Like, okay, thanks. I'll just watch your video then. Oh, appreciate it.
Declassify the O&A Ralphie May file. Yeah, exactly.
This is called Opie without Opie and Anthony is ... Little clickbaity. Whoa, what is it? I guess I got to watch to find out.
Yeah, Jim has
you don't need
fun.
to watch. You don't need to watch anything here. This visual sums up his whole life and this whole show. I have a $1 million apartment condo. Yep. I have a $1 million view that is obstructed by the $15 ring light I can see reflecting in the window, because you have built a life that can afford you this place, and you're putting on a show that you don't give a shit about because you think that keeps you free from criticism. It does not. It opens you up to more because you look like a fucking idiot with a $5 ring light reflecting off this view of the Hudson River that only kings and royalty get. It's a fuck you to us. Take that stupid hat off.
The ring light is so distracting and annoying. And I've been thinking this for a while, and I'm not an expert when it comes to lighting. Ask Vinny Paulino. He yells at me and tells me how we got to change things up down here all the time. Vinny's always adjusting lights in his studio and getting everything just right. But there's such a better solution than a straight-on ring light when you're sitting in front of a window. It's easily the worst option possible. A flashlight pointing up in his face would be better than this.
You can tell a scary
ghost story.
Trying to say that I picked my nose or something. What about the Ralphie May Day? What about that, Jim? You want to really start talking about stuff?
At least he's matured. Oh, yeah, you say I picked my nose? Well, you did a thing, too. Okay, cool.
Thank you, Dominic. I appreciate your hate this morning. Yeah, that's me. The guy that literally had a concept for a radio show that became one of the biggest radio shows, if not the biggest radio show ever.
Okay. So he started this off with, I'm the guy who had a concept for a radio show that became the biggest radio show. Now, I know a couple things about Opie and Anthony, so I'm going to dispute some of his facts here as he points them out.
Said, you know what, I got this concept for a radio show, but I'm looking for someone I could do the show with that's actually naturally funny, that's not in the business, because the guys in the business are too fucking polished. Let me think. Oh, there's this guy that installs air conditioners on Long Island, and he's really funny. I'm going to bring him on board for this.
Okay. So Opie is saying now, he had this vision. He's just like, okay, I need to team up with someone, but pros in the business, too polished. It's got to be raw, and it's got to be funny. Should I look into cab drivers, or should I look at HVAC? I'm going to go with HVAC professionals. I'm going to find like an HVAC guy out on Long Island, maybe down in his luck, dead-end job, and I'll find a guy who's like witty and interesting and fun. No, Anthony was in a band with his brother, and they wrote a parody song called Good Electric Shock OJ. about O.J. Simpson getting the electric chair when this was the biggest news in the country. It was the O.J. trial. And it was hilarious. He sent it into the show. Opie played it. People loved it. So they brought Anthony and his brother in studio. People didn't like his brother so much, but they loved Anthony. And then Opie kept having Anthony back because he got a great response from it. This wasn't like a big vision that he had. He was just like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to recruit a guy who's not in radio, who's really funny. Because my idea is, what if we did a morning show where it's just like a bunch of guys sitting around and there's some comedians there and then podcasting starts and a lot of them like take the same concept. Like Joe Rogan will be the biggest one ever and he'll credit us and my idea for... None of this happened.
There was no risk involved. He was going by results.
Right.
Yeah.
And even your pretend idea is shitty. Your idea was, I'll find someone else that will be awesome and propel us to stardom. Great fucking idea. Nobody who's ever been in casting has thought of that before. Well done.
Yeah, it's literally like Bill and Ted's, where they want to have the greatest band in the world. They're like, we just got to get Eddie Van Halen, and then we'll be the greatest band in the world. That's what Opie is saying right now.
Checks out, yeah.
Bring him on board for this idea I got for a fucking radio show. And then, another year or two goes by, a few years go by. Like, you know what? I think we need a comedian that is really good at just sniping, a quick comedian that could really accent me and Anthony's chemistry, because there was a time me and Anthony had really, really good chemistry, and that kind of went away. And then I, Opie, who does take responsibility for stuff, unlike others,
Whoa. Now he's taking responsibility again? It's been a while. It's been a long time since I've heard Opie take responsibility for anything. But, of course, he's taking credit for hiring Jim Norton right now.
But it's also a real masturbatory fantasy, because he's like, my brilliant idea was we need people that are unpolished, that aren't even in showbiz. And then that worked, and then I had a brilliant idea. Let's get somebody who's polished and in showbiz. It'll be great.
Yeah.
Sometimes shit just happens, Opie. You don't have to take credit for it and pretend it's some brilliant mastermind just because you have nothing to show for yourself now. The only difference between Opie and Stuttering John is alcoholism. That's it. They're the same person saying the same stuff.
The delusion is there. Yes, you're right.
In this funny, performative voice. He's just not an alcoholic yet.
He's just, he's recreating history in real time. We're watching him as he explains. And then it was my idea, what if we had a comedy show and we hired a comedian to be on our comedy show? Never been done before. Great idea.
And then I'm like, Anthony, if you can tackle racial issues, we can start bringing in other kinds of comics, and you two could start mixing up. Now, if only I could get an African-American to run for president. How do I do that? So I called up Nancy Pelosi. What a fucking delusional asshole.
No shit.
And it's amazing because I grew up with Howard Stern and Stuttering John, so it all feels very personal to me. But I feel the same way about Opie, and I have none of these ties. It's just his behavior that is so infuriating to me.
I became wallpaper on my own radio show. Everyone knows that. But there was plenty of years I was more than stupid wallpaper. Okay. So then I'm like, all right, now the missing piece on this show, we need a comedian to come in, be more of a sniper, quick, hit people with one-liners generally, and has good stories. That guy was Jim Norton. Hired both of them, you dopes. They didn't hire themselves, you dopes.
I mean, he's trying to take credit for their talent.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, a great leader of, whether you're the leader of a country, the leader of an organization, the leader of a business, like, you want to say, like, this isn't me doing this. This is all of you. This is great. Like, we're a we. This is why we're successful. And Opie wants to take full credit, even though everyone knows he's not the reason why people liked that show. So it's like the opposite of that. It's like, guys, this was all me. I'm the one who decided to bring on funny people that you would enjoy listening to on the radio.
And this is all in response to a chat.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I love his Paul Harvey, the rest of the story. And that man was
Jim Norton. Yeah. Oh, that was the guy?
Then why don't you just do it again, Opie?
I just hate the dishonesty.
Yes.
Cast your local Gephardt's, bar back, and a comedian and have
Ron the Waiter. Yeah, you got Ron the Waiter. You got Matt.
He's got the magic touch. What could go wrong?
Bring him in. Show us.
I just
your
hate
genius.
the dishonesty of people, but what are you gonna do? Who has the bigger dog, Michelle Obama or okay?
Okay, so this is Opie. He put up this chat. It's a free chat. And it's calling out Jim Norton's married to a trans woman. And so is the bigger dong. And has Nikki's name on there. And now Opie's going to do the, whoa, I can't control this. You put it up and you're leaving it up.
And you read half of it already.
Because this is what Opie does. He allows the chatters to say the things that he pretends he doesn't want to say.
Right.
But he definitely does. And he can't wait to take his shots. Like, this is him taking a serious shot. Taking a shot at a guy's wife. If someone did that to Opie, it'd be a real problem. If Jim Norton came out and talked about Opie's wife, it wouldn't happen. It doesn't happen.
I stop with that.
Do you?
Like I said, I don't like Jim Norton, like literally at all.
Yeah.
But if he finally found happiness, that's all I give a crap. I don't care.
Then why is it still up?
Care.
Yeah, what do you-
Take it
I
down.
don't
Take it
care.
down.
I don't care. All right? As long as you're not hurting yourself or others.
I mean, Jesus Christ, he's leaving it up there a long time to show you how great he is and how caring he is about the LGBTQ community over here.
What he means is, as long as you're not hurting me, I don't give a fuck.
Yep. But he's taking his shots right here. All of this, I don't care, and all of this is all him taking shots.
And you're happy, that's all that matters. And that's been my mantra since I was very, very little. And I'm not going to start saying differently. Sorry. All right? Were you drunk tweeting yesterday? No, dude, I don't. You know, you could start all these dumb, stupid, crappy things about me all you want, but pretty much most of it is completely false. I actually am not a big drinker, even though I do a live podcast from a beer hall once a week. Yes,
I know he's turning into Stuttering John, even with his presentation style. But also, he's not calling you a drunk, Opie. He's saying your tweets are ridiculous. He's not addressing the right thing. No, I didn't even drink that much. Then why are you tweeting what you're tweeting? That's the question here.
but I sip beers like a freaking girl. Like a girl.
Me. I know a guy like that.
No, I wasn't. I was just getting some of it out because I had it. You know, there was a time like I was trying to, in general, take the high road. In general, like I said, I'm not perfect. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm perfect. Yeah, I've said some shit, but
You're doing it right now, Opie. Look at how not perfect I am. I'm calling out Jim for marrying Nikki right now on my show. Yep, you're proving how not perfect you are. Good job.
it was just the constant pick of both those guys over the years. Pick. You know, I even didn't take a swing when I found out that Anthony trashed me in 2 books. More pick.
So there's 2 different things happening here. You have Anthony, who comes on this show. I've got on his show talking about Opie. He has written 2 books with chapters about Opie in them. Anthony's not picking. He's putting it right out there. He'll watch clips. He'll clown you. He'll go off. And it's very entertaining. And then you have Jim, who doesn't do any of that. Jim takes the high road. And Opie is lumping them together. These guys are both like trying to fuck with me. Meanwhile, and we demonstrated this on the last episode, look at Opie's channel. Everything is Opie and Anthony, Jim Norton, Anthony, Sam Roberts, nonstop going after all those guys.
And then Jim Norton tweeting shit about me, but not mentioning me, just being a passive aggressive twat. Pick.
We proved on the last episode that was not to or about Opie. And Opie took it as if it was about him. And that's an Opie problem.
Yeah, it says a lot.
Not a Jim problem. But this is the thing. Guys like Opie and Aaron Imholt and Stuttering John, they'll take something and they'll make up something that happened. He posted my audiobook. They had a photo of my mom with KY jelly in the background. And then they can use that forever and do whatever they want because, I'm just responding to this thing that this person did. So he's made up that Jim put out a tweet. Jim doesn't do anything because Opie just wants to trash Jim and he's looking for a reason for it.
Pick. That I finally had it. And one of the reasons I'm like, I'm trying to in general, I say in general, because you guys will just spin and twist everything I say. In general, I was trying for the most part to take the high road because of everything we accomplished as a radio show, if you want to know the truth. But it finally got to the point I'm like, enough.
How long has he been saying this for? 2 years? 3 years? We've been trying to take the high road over here. We've been documenting this on this show for a while now. He's not.
Who's he talking to? You guys are going to twist and spin this. Are you talking to your fans?
Well, he's probably talking to his chat because they're all. If you saw the things that he was pulling up while he was doing that.
Yeah, no, I was.
Yeah, all
I
of
know
them are
what he's
goofing
saying.
on him.
But why do the show?
Yeah, great question.
I think I know the answer to that. I think it's because he has to tell his wife and kids he's doing something.
Yeah. I've always wondered
And we
about
all
that.
know he's not going to put effort into anything because that means he'll get criticized. So as long as he keeps doing this nothing, he's busy, he's occupied, he can say he's doing something, he can appease the family, but also he never gets criticized because he never really tried. And that's what this is. He thinks it's cool and laid back and relaxed. It's just lazy and insecure and dripping with fear and self-consciousness. Do a show, hire some people, see what happens. This, I mean, I don't know what's the brother man's name, the Rochester guy that he loves?
Brother Weeze.
Brother Weeze, right. It was Brother Weeze listing his grievances at the end of every show. Is Brother Weeze assuming his audience was haters that he needed to attack?
No, he's still on the radio. He still has a job, Brother Weeze.
Probably because he's not ripping into his former co-host every day
Right.
while he still has a job.
Yes.
Come on, man. It's fucking crazy because Melton said it. I didn't have the words for it, and he said it so perfectly. I'll click into his TikTok sometime, Opie's, and I'll just like write the stupidest thing in the comments, like he's at Gephardt's and all right, like, oh, 81st Street. And then he sees it and he's like, this guy, 84th Street, 81st. And he starts going on about this comment. Are you from New York? Where do you live? Were you here? How did you know? And Melton's like, it's not supposed to be like this.
No.
This is like a metaverse. He's not supposed to be responding to me. That's why I wrote it. This is not how it's supposed to go, Opie. You're supposed to ignore me. You're not supposed to be so in need of anything to talk about that someone names a street in New York and you're like, well, let's go down this road for the next 20 minutes. Because I got nothing going on. You're not pleasing the fans. There are no fans. It's just me and Carl and Chris and everyone here fucking with you.
Well, and I agree that Opie is doing this so they can't be criticized, but that's not working.
No.
He is getting criticized by everyone. I was even watching, Kevin Brennan's now watching Opie on his show. And he's watching Opie walk around the streets of Manhattan. He's just like, how bored is this guy? I mean, coming from Kevin Brennan, that's rich. But he's like, how bored is this guy? He's just walking around. He has nothing else to do. And I think that lends itself right to your point, Adam, where it's like, all right, I got to go out now. And it's like, he can go walk around for 2 hours and do his live stream. And then the wife's like, okay, good. At least he's got a hobby.
Pick up some envelopes.
Pick up some envelopes while you're there. Oh, that'll be my bit. I'll do the envelope bit.
But the shit he's saying about these radio people that are talking to him and the deals that are in the works, that's a typical person like him. Someone will come save me from this. And I'll convince everyone around me that stuff's happening and they'll hear me talking about it. They see me getting up in the morning and doing something. They didn't care for O&A. They don't care for this. So I can just, do my thing. But no one is going to come and save you. This is it. You have to do the show you would want to do.
Swearing. He stopped swearing on his show to show the next radio executive that I'm hireable. I got my schedule and I can do this. It's not going to happen.
No, it's not.
happening.
They'd rather have anyone else but you. They'd rather have a stranger who's
AI
half your
Opie.
age.
We have AI Opie. You can have him.
Show if you want to know the truth. But it finally got to the point I'm like, enough. The stupid garbage they say about me and the stuff I got on both of them. There's stuff I got on both of them that has never been said. So enough.
That's my least favorite thing, the threat that he has to throw out there. And again, Jim's not doing anything. Jim's not provoking any of this. Opie is doing this because he wants to, because he has to. Like, Opie needs people talking about Opie and Anthony way more than Anthony does and way more than Jim does. Jim has moved on for years. He's done multiple other projects since then. Mm-hmm. He's not talking about Opie and Anthony at all. Opie needs people to be talking about Opie and Anthony. And he's the one posting all this content about Opie and Anthony. Meanwhile, also saying, we got to stop this, man. It's enough. I'm done talking about it for years. he's insane.
Yes.
They're trapped and bitter, and it's the same thing as John. They're like romanticizing this time that was the happiest in their lives and not coming to terms with the fact that it's over and all those people hate you now and you
Yes.
need to move on. They can't all be asshole demons that ruined your life but also helped you create the greatest radio of all time. It can't be both.
Right. He's a head case. I know he wants to take credit for hiring Jim Norton and then also say Jim Norton's the worst person ever. Mm-hmm. Okay. Then you fucked up then, didn't you?
Yeah, not a good thing you did then.
Yeah.
Who are these podcasts?